Welcome back to another episode of The Art of Bird Photography. In this episode, I'm going to be editing a martin. So let's get to that. I think this is the gray-chested martin. Oh, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's a martin. And I'm going to talk about some of the things I noticed in this shot that I think could be improved or that I should work on. Okay, first of all, we got one out of focus bird here, one in focus bird here. I did brighten the catch light a little bit, as you can see. On, off. So just a little bit of a brightening. I always recommend brightening the catch light if it's a little bit dim. This time it wasn't too dim. And in general, if a catch light needs too much brightening, it's probably got something wrong with it. I also noticed, and this is something I always look out for, is the left side of the image looks a little bright. So I added a tone curve to darken that part of the image. See, on, off, on. And this is not exactly about vignetting. It's just about looking for edges of the image that look a little bright and may distract from the main subject. Okay, so let's get on to the more interesting edits. Those were the basic ones. The more interesting edits. There's some nice tonal variation on the back of the swallow, you see, but it looks a little flat to me. So I added a very gentle mask and increased the tonal contrast just in the back of the bird. Let's see what that does. On, off, on. See? The bright spot in the back is just a little bit more emphasized. That's a really nice feature of the bird. So it's a good idea in general when you're editing birds or mammals or anything, any kind of animal. It's a good idea to use local masks on the bird to bring out certain features that probably should be emphasized. And if you'll notice, I actually applied the mask to both birds so that the view is a little bit more consistent. See, the other bird also has that little bit of brightening so that the effect looks more natural. The next thing I did was I did some contrast adjustments. Now, you know when you draw birds, you often really emphasize certain areas like this wing here. Look what I'm doing here. I turned on this contrast equalizer. Turn on the contrast equalizer just in the wing area of the in-focus bird. See? There's just a bit of a mask there. And it emphasizes the parts of the wing that should be a little bit darker. But notice that if I didn't use a mask here, if I turn off the mask, then the contrast adjustment is applied to the whole image and the whole image looks too rough. That's ugly. You don't want that. That's ugly. So it really pays to apply it just with a mask. With a mask on this area, it looks natural. Without a mask, on the face, on the background, on this yellow thing, doesn't look natural. Okay. And there's one other thing I want to talk about. Let's look at this. See, often also, birds have a very recognizable beak. The beak of the bird is a very prominent feature of the bird, but right now, the area here isn't too prominent, especially when I zoom out. So I added one more contrast equalizer right to the mouth there. It's not very perceptible probably on video, but if I zoom in, you'll see that is before, after, before, after. It gives just a little bit more contrast to that area of the mouth and makes the bird form just a little bit more perceptible. So I think the lesson in this video is basically just look for elements of the bird that are very distinguishable, like wing, the wing where the wing meets the body, the bill, the eye, and do a little subtle editing to bring out those features a little more. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Art of Bird Photography, and I'll see you again next time.